Hey everybody, welcome to A5 Evening, a all-party roundup. Tonight's guests are Nir from the Foundry team. Nir, if you want to say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And Rachel Williamson, also known as Steampunkette everywhere, and author of Paranormal Power and the upcoming Martial Artistry.
Hi, nice to meet y'all.
I'm Grant. Some of you might know me as the third-party A5E creator behind the Broken Synapse Press publishing imprint and author of Corrosive Souls. My co-host, as always, is Allie.
Hi, everybody. Here to learn with everybody and excited to get into this.
Allie happens to also be one of my players and is a fan of the system A5E, the thing that brings us all here tonight. So first up, Nir, as our guest co-host tonight, you are a member of the Foundry team. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do over there and what you do specifically?
Yeah, so we're constantly scratching our heads whenever a third-party publisher puts out material, and we have to figure out how to squeeze it in so that players can play it online on the Foundry virtual tabletop. Software that has become more and more popular over the years, and so it's gotten a wider player base. It looks like most of the people who play A5E online play it on Foundry. So we're constantly trying to add in features that people are requesting while trying to maintain it with the current versions of Foundry. Now, I call myself a junior developer. I am not the full-fledged developer that does all the hard stuff. I mostly deal with making the content for the third-party publishers, providing the modules, integrate into the full-fledged developer that does all the hard stuff. I mostly deal with making the content for the third-party publishers, providing the modules, integrate into the system, and doing some of the smaller feature sets that I can do with my capabilities.
Perfect. And you've helped me implement my book, for example. So you guys do great work over there. So and where can people find you? We'll get some pluggables kind of out of the way first. I know you didn't say you had a whole lot of social media presence, but I definitely
No,
know you're on Discord.
yes, I practically live there all the time, mostly because helping people on our server. Grant, you should have the link for our
I do,
server Discord.
and
I'm
that will
there.
be in the show notes as well.
Wonderful. They're online most of the time helping out new users, people who have issues or want to just discuss things with the system and how we can make it better. So real easy. My username is just N Chezrony, and as my first name Nir, and then Chezrony as my last name. I'm also a part of the Patreon. Wow, can't even remember Patreon names. The Forge Masters. So any subscriptions we get through there helps to support the system as well. So I recommend people join if they enjoy using A5E on Foundry.
And it's like I said, it's a great system. Everybody loves it, and that is certainly where everybody who really likes A5E hangs out the most. Is that Discord server for sure? So
If I could also plug that we have plenty of people who play regular vanilla Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition on the A5E system on Foundry as well. So come one, come all.
there you go. Do you have anything you guys are working on currently coming up? I know
Yeah,
that version 13 is the big thing.
that is the big thing. It's kind of put the kibosh on all the other feature additions that we'd like to add because we really need to get that up and running. It really is a lot of technical debt that has caught up that we've got to solve before we can move forward. We're moving to now Svelte 5, which makes things a tighter package and loads faster. It'd probably be negligible for most people, but when you import an entire compendium's worth of stuff, things are going to move a little faster for you. So there are some odds and ends that are going to get fixed at the same time, like getting dark mode to look a lot nicer. But a lot of the features that we really want to bake in, that's what we're holding off until we can get to version 13. So just today on our Discord server, I threw up a poll as a little treat for everybody waiting. I'm going to include some extra artwork from the artist who created most of the artwork that's included in Foundry now, Rexard. So running that poll right now in our server. Once we get some some votes in the next 2 weeks. We'll add those in version 13.
Wonderful. All right, and so the kind of the main event tonight is having Rachel here to talk about her upcoming book, Martial Artistry.
And what a book it is.
It's so good.
Yes.
It's so good. You all are going to be so excited when you see this. It's also massive. Like, if you thought Paranormal Power was big, this book is.
It's 149 pages currently. Over the course of the Kickstarter, I hope to add at least a few more pages. I've got a couple of stretch goal classes and artwork that I'd like to have added to it.
I did see it's very exciting that the stretch goals of getting some custom artwork. Wish I had some enough money to throw at that, because that sounds like a great prize for someone.
I'm so tempted.
Mm-hmm. I've got like 12 people who are racing to be the first 5 that they can pledge the 500 each to get their character.
No matter how, I'm just not that fast, so I guess I won't.
But yeah, it's a work of love. I've been puttering about it for a course of 2 years now. Most of that time, I was working on the class. The classes, particularly the Sentinel, took a very long time to complete. It's simply a massive character class with all the companions attached to it. Had some health issues, had some family loss, but we get through it and we keep going.
And it does help to have something that's really awesome to come out of the other side of it.
I really hope so.
Right?
I can't claim that I've done anywhere near as close to you. I put out a book that had 3 archetypes in it. So.
Well, you know.
But it feels so good to have something at the end of even if it's rough getting there with all the life that happens in the way. It feels real nice.
Doesn't help. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was to say, I feel like I'm in the candy aisle while I'm working on making your module. I keep thinking, oh, what class would I want to play now? Ooh, Champion looks great. Ooh, Sentinel looks great. I can't. Maybe Gunslinger. I really like all of the new classes.
Yeah, I did the same thing as I was looking over. I was like, ooh, I could do this, and it'll be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very specific rule when I decide a new character class. I look for something I can break.
Ooh,
That's a good approach. I look for a rule I can break, and I build a class to break that rule in a way that is balanced. So the Warcaster breaks the rule that you can't use magic with combat maneuvers, but it does it with only cantrips. So it's basically the same as swinging a long sword.
Sure.
Pretty much.
The Champion breaks the rules of marking targets and using reactions and the action economy in that way. The Sentinel gets a companion character. I basically split a D12 hit dice between them, between the companion and the main character, and let them have extra action economy, essentially. But the companion's action economy isn't as valuable as a full-fledged character's action economy. And then the monk, or the gunslinger, I just took an adept and gave it guns.
Yep.
Perfect.
And it works great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yes.
So how did you get into, like, I love just knowing about the creative process in general. Like, how did you get into some of this stuff? Like, where do you get some of this inspiration from to even begin with?
Giant nerd.
Great.
I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop TTRPGs, or tabletop role-playing games, since 1990-ish. I started with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition with the Psionics Handbook and Dark Sun. I absolutely adored it. It's still basically my favorite setting, though it really needs an update.
Sure.
Can I ask, did you make any content prior to Advanced 5th Edition? Did you make any for original Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, absolutely. I've been tinkering with systems for over 20 years at this point, close to 30. But I didn't sell them. It was all just homebrew for my table and my friends and stuff like that. It wasn't until I met Peter Martin from Purple Martin Games that he really encouraged me to actually take the leap of signing up for the Gate Pass Gazette and the EN Cider. And eventually I talked to Andrew Engelbright and wound up working on the Void Runners Codex as my first published writing credit, which was super cool. Though technically it came out much later than my first actual writing credit.
Yeah, that Peter Martin getting people to start publishing things is a very familiar story for me as well.
He is
he
very persuasive.
Yep, he will get his claws into you, and then all of a sudden you got books published, and it's like, where did that? I don't.
But martial artistry itself is designed to be a compendium of combat. New classes, new systems, mass combat specifically. That one was kind of a pain in the neck because my initial impulse, and I think most people's initial impulse when it comes to mass combat, is to try and make it mechanically large. To try and do the full wargaming miniatures, battle maps design. And ultimately, while that can be interesting, there's already miniature wargaming out there. And they're going to do it much better than I'm going to do it. So I eventually decided to go on a streamlined setup, focusing on your characters and making sure the mass combat portion of the game remains within the same sort of system rather than trying to develop a system to sit on top of it.
And I think it works really nice. It's again, for people that this is the first episode, we're not journalists. This is closer to a fan cast. I'm here to gush with my author friends and talk about their cool stuff. So if you're wanting hard-hitting questions, you're not going to get it from me. So
Off camera.
I appreciate it. So many times you come across new mechanics for the system. And like you said, it's like a whole nother game attached on, and there's already complex rules that as a narrator you need to memorize, you need to be familiar with, that you can't constantly be referring to. So the fact that the mass combat rules are not that much additional rules to learn is very helpful as a narrator running the game.
I really hope so. I hope a lot of people enjoy the system.
Yeah, I'm excited to throw it at my players.
You also asked about inspiration. That is another core function of class and game design. The Sentinel is designed to be the character that has not necessarily a built-in companion. Like traditionally in media, you don't get that. But occasionally you have the bodyguard and the prince. For example, Red Sonja, if you remember that movie from back in the 80s or early 90s. You had the Prince Tar and his much older, much larger bodyguard. It's meant to evoke that kind of character bond with special synergistic abilities between them as well as their own separate capability.
And one of the things that you brought up in just on various discords is that it's just a great kind of class if you have like a younger person. Like I have a 5-year-old that's still a little young for that, but like 2 years, maybe I'll roll up a Sentinel and he could be like the companion part, and it's just a much more streamlined version of A5E, and then they're kind of being shepherded by a more experienced player. I think that's just a great, wonderful idea that you can just kind of bring in. There's a place. They don't have to memorize or get a whole big new character if they're not like developmentally ready for that. And you can. It's part of the story. It's part of the mechanics. You can just shepherd them through. It's wonderful. I love it.
Grant, I didn't think about it, but I often have people who are interested in dabbling their toe in tabletop role-playing games, but to either put together a one-shot for them to try out a system, it's still a lot of work. That's a great idea of having them come. You get to play the companion for this session. I think they would love that.
Yep, and it's more than just a sidekick. So there's more meat there, but it's still like guardrails. It's going bowling with the rails up, right?
You still have to deal with the full action economy. You have choice of abilities, but when that player leaves, like if you are in a public place and you have one person just come up and wants to sit down and play at your table a little bit, hand them over the NPC, and when they leave, the NPC is still part of the game. the story continues for them. It's not like you're creating a new character just to bring in for a cameo and then they're gone. So that's a lot of fun. The Warcaster was actually the easiest character to have that kind of inspiration for, because there are so many movies or moments in books where you have just an army of wizards launching fireballs at a dragon or something similar. But in an actual D&D game, that is an unreasonable expectation, both for a dungeon master and for a military force, to just have that many wizards of 5th level or higher just lying around. So I decided to do the Warcaster as sort of an arcane artillery, because you are going to, in a fantasy world, find yourself fighting dragons, and chimeras, and various creatures that have resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. So you have to imagine that if you can't afford an entire armory of arrows that are all +1 or better, you're going to need a low-level wizard-type character to just fling firebolts in the hope of doing something to the monster before it attacks.
I think the Warcaster... Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was really excited about the Warcaster. I really like kind of that middle ground of, I don't want to be like, you know, kind of like squishy like the wizard, but I also don't want the responsibility of those higher level spells, and to be able to do a little magic and a little, you know, kind of martial artistry stuff. I think as a player, I was really excited to see that balance, to be able to have a little flavor with the magic while also doing some other really cool mechanics.
I think it's probably the most innovative Gish we've seen yet. And that's tooting my own horn, and I recognize that, and I apologize. But,
go for it.
Well, we like it.
Yeah. Toot your horn. This whole show is about have people tooting their own horn. So,
So, Rachel, you mentioned, you know, wizards throwing fireballs at a dragon. I know you mentioned you like to find a mechanic to break, but do you also try and find some world building? I know you don't press it upon the player, but do you think about that while you're trying to come up with your concepts?
To some degree, yeah. The Warcaster, for example, the basic principle for the role-playing background is you are probably trained at an arcane academy for the military. That they are specifically training these magical archery units, essentially, and then dispatched around the world to various locations or working for whatever kingdom you live in. Things of that nature. So,
did you want to preview a little bit of the champion class that's in the book? I know most people are most people are going to be most interested in the player-facing content. And you had mentioned that the champion class you would be willing to share just a little bit of, and I was just wondering if you could kind of give like the elevator pitch for it, if you would.
The elevator pitch for the champion is bringing back the 4th edition fighter in a new and more engaging way. For those of you who played 4th edition, or who didn't play 4th edition, fighters used to mark targets and then gain benefits when they were dealing with those specific targets. Sometimes those marks were offensive. You would put it on a bad guy, and then you would have more reactions against them, or if they hit somebody that wasn't you, they had disadvantage to do so, or a problem, complications. And then you could mark defensive targets that you would protect, and you would gain more action options to defend them. So I did that with this champion class. I gave them the Rise to the Challenge ability. You get to pick 2 targets, 1 ally, 1 enemy, and mark them. So long as you are within 10 feet of your offensive target, you may use your bonus action to hinder them, reducing their movement speed by 15 feet. As a bonus action, that's fairly strong, but it's not game-breaking. It's definitely going to make you more sticky. It's going to make it harder for the enemy to get away from you. When they make an attack that does not include you as a target, you can use a reaction to make a basic maneuver before the attack roll is made, possibly foiling the attack. So let's say I'm standing next to my party rogue, and I've got a Death Knight as my offensive target. And he decides he wants to deal with the rogue. Well, I can try and make a shove attack to push him back 5 feet so that he doesn't get the attack off. Or I can try and grapple him. or do some other very simple, basic maneuver. Disarm would probably be the best in that situation, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless there's a nearby cliff.
Well, sure.
Cliff is always the best maneuver, if you ask me.
When in doubt.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, when you're within 10 feet of your defensive target, you can use the help action as a bonus action instead of an action, which allows you to grant your party member advantage, which is really powerful. In addition, if someone were to make an attack roll against your defensive target, you can use your reaction to swap spaces with your target and instead become the target of the attack for them. And that really harkens to various noble, heroic characters across not just fantasy media, but modern day action movies and things of that nature. And I feel like that's, if not important, at least really nice to have.
Sure. So that you pretty much covered a lot of my questions I had for the change.
I'm just thinking about my own table where I've got a fighter and a ranger, and they, not in real life, but their characters have a rivalry. And I was just thinking, oh boy, if the fighter turned into a champion instead, they would absolutely be marking the same targets, right? Ranger with the hunter's mark, champion with the offensive target to compete who could kill that target first. It's just nice to see another option for targeting other than the ranger, which is a classic class that has that. But you're right, there's no other classes that really utilize that right now. So that is very exciting for the champion.
Creating the actual narrative structure of the champion was actually probably the most difficult of all of the classes that I created for this book. So there's not a whole lot of identity behind marking targets. It's just a combat mechanic. So I eventually settled on the idea of questing knights. Not just fighters or heralds or whatever other art or character you want to do on an adventure, but specifically the idea of epic quests. So at 6th level, once per long rest, they can declare a quest. They choose a goal, such as reaching that mountain or defeating a specific enemy by the end of the day. So long as they don't take a long rest, the quest continues. And as long as you are on the quest, you gain immunity to fatigue, strife, and you have advantage on saving throws against charms and illusions that would dissuade you from your quest, that would try to stop you. So long as you go and you make an oath not to rest until you see it done, you get these benefits. But if you do take a long rest, well, you've broken your quest. You've broken your promise. You lose those benefits and immediately gain a level of fatigue.
Oh, interesting.
Once I had that in mind, I turned around and gave them righteous causes to choose from right at level 1. And these righteous causes alter your rise to the challenge options. So normally you can pick one offensive target and one defensive target when you use your ability. For the arena fighter, which is a champion gladiator, essentially, you get to pick 2 offensive targets if you like. So you get the option of doing 1 defensive, 1 offensive, or 2 offensive. For those who go for noblesse oblige, you can instead choose 2 defensive targets. And each of these different things is designed to provide a little bit more customization to the character and play into the idea of this questing knight. They don't get a horse, unlike Harold.
Sure.
You have to buy one of those for yourself because it's a martial class. It's not inherently magical on its own, unless you pick the magic options.
Sure.
There's always that.
And I love, across the board for a lot of your classes, you've now opened it up even more to other third-party publishers, right? So it's not just archetypes. We could see more of those options that you were describing. I'm thinking about your Sentinel, where you can get more companions, different types of those. I just love that you've just opened the doors to way more than just your bread and butter archetypes that people could create.
Archetypes, righteous causes, warcaster initiations.
It's fertile ground. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a perfect phrase for that.
And that's not even getting into combat synergies.
Combat synergies, all the maneuvers you're introducing in this book.
Yeah.
which what are there, 6 traditions that are in this book? Only 2
12.
of which are 12. 12.
Sorry.
No. Correct me. That's yeah.
12 traditions, 2 of which are coming from Purple Martin Games.
Sure.
I forgot the name of the other production company.
Is it Speaks and Spells? Is it Clark?
Speaks and Spells. That's it, yes. Clark Peterson. Awesome guy. Absolute sweetheart.
Gonna be a guest on this show in August.
I'm eager to see it.
Yep.
But yes,
So-
I am bringing those 2 specifically into this book with the intent of trying to create a more complete Marshall compendium. Because I'm not the only one in this space. So
And as I can say as a outsider for the publishing group, it is fantastic to see all the publishers working together, coordinating, putting stuff in each other's material so that you know, if you purchase one, you have a complete body of work, but it hints at something greater that you can get from another publisher. It is definitely, when I'm talking to people who don't play Advanced 5th Edition, it's one of the big selling points, the fact that it's a shared universe.
Kind of, that's one of the main inspirations for this show too, is we are just, it's the best, in my opinion, one of the best third-party ecosystems of any system. And I'm a third-party gremlin. I love collecting third-party things that I just will look at and then never use, but like I still love them.
you have to use martial artistry though.
Well, I definitely will. And I'm already working on creating a champion archetype. So it's
very cool.
Already happening. But we should probably get to the logistics type questions for martial artistry. I know you are launching on Kickstarter.
Yes, on June 15th.
June 15th, coming up, and that pre-back site is now live?
Yep.
Okay, and that will be in the show notes as well. How long is the campaign?
I'm going for 30 days.
30 days, okay.
Aiming for a $5,000 target, I guess is the way to put it.
Perfect.
Though I've also got the Blackguard and the Sword Mage as stretch goals for 10,000 and 20,000.
Oh, already announcing those, huh?
Oh yeah,
I love it. I love it.
They're actually the entire class table is up on the Kickstarter day one as soon as it launches on the 15th.
Just to tease people and get them spending the money, I guess. Nice, I love it.
The reaction.
Is 2 whole new classes as stretch goals to add to the 4 that are already in this book.
And they're already completed and ready to just get added to the PDF.
Rachel, just sharing the table of contents was enough on the Advanced 5th Edition for Foundry server to get them very excited. So the fact that you're dropping a whole class table as well on your Kickstarter, yeah, people are going to love it.
And like I said, that you are following up Paranormal Power, which is to date the most successful A5E third-party launch on Kickstarter. So how do you feel about that? You confident? You should be. This is really good. So
I'm super nervous, but hopeful.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to assume that I'm going to get the same feedback I did, because in large part, there's a lot of martial options in 5th edition.
Sure.
There were no really solid central psionic options in 5th edition when I launched Paranormal Power.
Sure, but everybody's interested in good martial options, and not everybody is super interested in psionics. So I'm gassing you up a little bit. We're good. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely.
I am cautiously optimistic.
Yep. And then formats that it's going to be available in. So I assume PDF, and you doing hardcover?
Doing hardcovers.
Right.
PDF will drop immediately at the end of the Kickstarter with all classes unlocked or otherwise. After the Kickstarter, during the Kickstarter, I'm going to have 5 $500 reward tiers where you get the PDF, the hardcover, and a full character image commissioned by Vin Wernick, the character and cover artist for Martial Artistry. And you will get your character permanently put into the book as a full-page character splash. There will be 5 of those, and Once the art is commissioned and added to the book, then I will send it to the printers sometime in early December to early to mid-January. Those will get shipped out.
Again, I don't think I'm going to be fast enough, or but other people make some cool characters and get them in that book.
I'm very hopeful. I want people to see themselves in this book and be able to have the bragging rights, because that's got to be pretty cool for whoever gets it.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
for sure. Good way to have your narrator or DM be like, well, hey, my character's in this book. We have to use these options. Here you go.
It's official.
Here you go. It's official. So again, June
15th.
June 15th, and it will be
Pacific
in the
time.
show notes.
I did want to say one specific thing about the third-party space. EN Publishing has done such an amazing job of giving us so much leeway and support, and I really want to thank them for that.
I do too.
And
it is an incredibly open license. It's all in all three of the major gaming license, Creative Commons, ORC, and the OGL.
And the body of the system reference documents, right? I mean, I don't know any other system that's put out that much of the core game out there for anyone to use as they see fit.
And continues to do so.
Continues to do so. And it's just, I hope they act, or that serves as a good example for all other publishers, because it's so easy to make stuff for A5E, and that's why A5E gets so much cool stuff made for it. So, all right. So, first party roundup for May and June. Not a ton of books dropped in May or June. We seemingly just had the Gate Pass Gazette number 39, which was released in May. I recognize a couple of friends on the author list here. Some river travel in Gate Pass Gazette 39 by Jim Temple, which is a pretty cool little feature about using rivers to get around. Interestingly, that it's kind of the first system set of rules I've seen for getting around on rivers, even though that is what people mostly do. So it's kind of funny that Jim was able to tap that market. And by the way, spoilers for next episode, Jim will be promoting his new book that is coming out next month.
Very exciting.
Yep.
Do you want to hint at the title?
Yeah,
or?
it is.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. I was actually going to say that for the end, but since I'm talking about it now, I can talk about it now. Yeah, Jim Temple, Variant Codex Press, author of the upcoming Pod Person Plague book, which is a kind of a body horror-y adjacent plant-based horror adjacent book. I've looked at it. I've seen it. It'll be the second third-party support for the third-party class, the Bloodblade. He's doing a plant-based Bloodblade in there, along with a bunch of other cool stuff, and he'll be able to talk to us in a couple weeks when he's on when he's on the show here. Other things in Gate Pass 39, we have some new synergy feats and a new combat tradition by Anthony Alipo, which focuses on grappling and unarmed combat, which is pretty cool. I know, Rachel, you have a grappling and unarmed combat
Serpent's
tradition in Serpent's Grip and in the upcoming martial artistry as well. So yeah, grapplers getting the love kind of lately. Then we have a new monster introduced, the Gloamer, the Silent Plague by Nick Roach or Rock. Pretty cool monster in there. And then Jagger A. Dillon has put out a ton of variant gifts and Paragon gifts and familiar faces from far afield. And I love variant options in gifts, and it seems like ENP is really kind of wanting more variant options that you can kind of like hot swap. And this is another article that's kind of illustrating that trend, and I love that that is a trend right now.
Fun note about Jagger. I'm in a Tomb of Annihilation A5E game with him. And he's playing an Esper.
Well, there you
Nice.
go. See, we all talk to each other, and some of us even play with each other. And then, again, for part of finishing up the first party roundup, we have Game Pass Gazette 40 to be released here in June. Usually Game Passes come out around the 10th of the month, thereabouts. This one will have new rogue class features. Like I said, this hot swapping of features that are similar, but you can kind of plug in and play. I haven't seen this one yet, but based on the preview text that was provided, it looks like we're getting more of that trend, and I'm here for it. Keep writing those things, people. I love it. Then we're getting some, looks like Planar Ranger Archetypes by Mark Kenobi. Oh, and I'm sorry, the new Rogue class features are is an article by Andrew Engelbright. Then we have Mike Myler giving us some items related to the Sleefoot Clown College, which he introduced in Game Pass Gazette number 19 with the comedic jabs tradition. So these are items that are associated with that combat tradition and the college you would learn it from. And then we have what looks to be a cosmic-inspired new heritage, Born of Stars, the Constellar Heritage by Enzo Salvato. And then upcoming this summer, it looks like Alpha Star, ENP's Void Runners Codex quarterly magazine, which is similar to the Game Pass Gazette, but it'll release quarterly and is geared towards the Void Runners Codex. So sci-fi and science fantasy looks to launch in early July. And I know, Rachel, I saw you were super excited. Are you writing anything for that first one, or?
No, I don't think any of my stuff went into it, but I've got stuff just sitting waiting for it.
Fair enough. I am very excited to see what's coming out. And then what is going to be, so that is the first party roundup for basically May and June, kind of a normal couple months, not just Game Pass Gazette. Nothing wrong with that. ENP does have other projects they are working on, but this is an A5E show. So, and then the next. So, any thoughts on that for anybody?
Just exciting to see sci-fi getting some love, and the fact that it's made to just latch onto the A5E system, that you can use those rules, but in a sci-fi setting with a little additional rule sets for ships and things like that. Yeah, it's great that it's getting continual love.
Oh, and Rachel, you did have a couple of sci-fi adjacent heritages in martial artistry. If you want a real quick touch on those.
Well, I have heritages, cultures, and backgrounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the heritages and cultures are designed to be sci-fi, sci-fantasy. So we've got the Bactosapiens, which are colonies of bacteria that exist as a single entity in the world. They're a form of shape-shifting ooze character, but as a colony, as a collective consciousness. So it's a different kind of concept. I've got the Drek, which are a fairly standard fantasy-ish race. An unenjoyable combination of feline lizard, often associated with swamps and places that you don't want to go. I've got the Macabre for a undead flair for heritages, and specifically their gifts are designed to be alterations to their bodies while they're dead, before they are raised. Cerebral expansion, ocular enhancements, and rejuvenatory capacity, things that. And then I have the Lokren 77s. If you've ever read the book Sentenced to Prison, I did as a child. I absolutely loved it. Alan Dean Foster, great writer. He had the idea of an organosilicate species that, as a hive entity, grew conduits for power and scouts and telepathy range boosting towers and things like that. And they were all the same species. So I wanted to kind of play with that in the game, in A5E, in the Void Runners universe. So I have the 7s for that.
In nicely, like she said, in any sci-fi or fantasy or science fantasy game, depending on your creativity as a narrator as well. So, so next and the big segment is the Mimic Moment, MiMo, the third-party roundup. So last month we had Single Class Synergy Volume 1, the Core 4 for A5E by Purple Marta Games. This is Peter made these similar to his multi-class synergy feats they're a chain of feats. The multi-class synergy feats are a chain of feats that are kind of designed to get rid of the nerf that you automatically do to yourself if you multi-class, and kind of give you a kind of benefits that kind of bring you to level with a single class character. This is kind of like rewarding people that are dedicated to one class and will stick with it 1 to 20. And these feats include for the core 4 in all fantasy gaming: cleric, fighter, rogue, and wizards.
Features some awesome art on the cover as well.
It does.
I haven't actually seen it yet. I'll be excited to.
Right.
And again, all of these links for all these products and creations will be in the show notes. Next part, crafting heritage, cultures, and more world building by Homebrew and Hacking, PJ Coffee. And the great thing about PJ is they have put all of their stuff in a SRD, which is, and Creative Commons as well. So their stuff is as open basically as the most open parts of A5E as a whole, and it's a really cool system. This is technically the second edition. They had a pretty successful Kickstarter that they ran for it, and it's basically a point buy system to creating your own unique backgrounds, cultures, and heritages. It's a great book. If you haven't got it, I really recommend picking it up. It's useful basically to everybody. PJ made a great book here. And again, wide open SRD and licensing, which I love. So.
And I just finished buying single class synergy because I'm that kind of person.
And there it is. We got it. The show is successful. And Allie knows I've used PJ's previous work. This book just came out, obviously, but I've used PJ's work to create custom heritages, and you probably haven't even known.
Okay. Listen, I roll with the giant spreadsheet.
Well, then all those things come from there, and you're playing a Yordle in our current campaign, and I just made I made it happen using the work of PJ here. So just special shout out to that.
Yeah, it's good to have, guardrails when you're trying to homebrew your own thing. So it's nice to have
and
a real system to use.
The math really is solid. PJ put in a lot of good work with the math there. So not to totally give the single class synergies the shorter part of my praise here. Peter did awesome work on that too. It's just PJ's book is useful for pretty much everybody. But the single class things, if you stick in one class for a long time and you think your feats just don't really speak to that class identity that you're really trying to make happen for your character, single class synergy is the way to go. And I'm sure everybody watching this is familiar with Peter Martin's work, but so you'll know that this lives up to that quality of work as well. Peter will be the guest host on the next show, along with it'll be Peter and Jim. So next show, big as loaded as this one. So and upcoming in June, it looks like Peter is going to try and release volume 2 of that single class synergy series, and this one will cover Ranger and Warlock from the AG, and then a lot of third-party support because there'll be Esper, Scholar, and Wielder also covered as single class synergy feats.
I'm excited to see what he comes up with for the Esper.
I'm super excited to see what for Wielder.
Yeah.
Wielder is easily currently like my favorite class, so it's up there. Your book hasn't released yet, Rachel, so I can't include champion. So
Do I get a magic item if I do one of these
Oh,
for
right.
my next character? Can I negotiate?
yeah. That's what I do. You named your last character a name I really like, so you got a free magic item to start. So
We know
That's
the
how
way to
you
Grant's
DM.
heart. Mhm.
Right?
I am a softy DM. And then obviously, and who will be talking about it on the next episode, Pod Person Plague by Variant Codex Press. Tune in for the next episode. And then in later June, Out of the Wilds by Plant Witch Press, Jessie Mullins. And she will be joining us in the July show to talk about this. So we are, and that is her sequel, quote unquote, to Hearth and Home, which is her cottagecore book, which I absolutely adore.
It's so good.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
and I'll be excited to talk to Jessie coming in July on the July episode. We are running a little long, but we did want to, but that does cover the MiMo segment, Mimic Moment. Anything anybody's particularly excited about in the coming up, or what has just come up?
As a narrator, all of those things.
Oh, sure.
As the module developer,
Yeah,
none of those things.
You're gonna be busy.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you so much.
Yes, it's a reciprocal relationship.
Right. And I know Allie, you're a big fan of Jessie's, so I'm
Yes,
sure
yes. Currently playing. She did the Kitchen Witch archetype?
she did do the
Yes.
kitchen.
Oh, I
Yes.
love it so much.
She's so good. Her style and her characterization in her writing, fantastic. If you don't have everything she put out, go buy it.
Go buy
Right?
it. Just that.
Oh.
Yes, do it.
So good.
And I just love the dichotomy of the Kitchen Witch and Bloodblade. You know,
Yep.
two
Yeah.
opposite ends.
Cozy interspersed with sudden horror, I believe,
Mhm.
is how she likes to
Perfect.
describe herself.
Yes.
She's really good.
But yeah, so it's going to be this summer. The June is just the start, y'all, and obviously we also have Rachel's Kickstarter coming out. So, and that, like you said, it will come out as soon as the Kickstarter wraps. So that'll be look back it and then look forward to opening your email box and having it in July. So,
Right?
so yeah, busy summer. All right, so we're running a little long. We can do a little quick discussion topic. I know Rachel wanted to kind of talk about a little bit of a unique way she does stat generation.
I saw it in a TikTok recently because the best ideas are stolen. It's the 3 up, 3 down method of character generation. You take a set of stats, 3 15s and 3 10s. You roll a d8, a d6, and a d4. You subtract the d8 from a 15 and add it to a 10. You subtract the d6 from a 15 and add it to a 10. And then you subtract the d4 from a 15 and you add it to a 10. No matter what you roll, you wind up with a total character number of 75 points across all 6 stats. So you always wind up with a character that is a +6 total modifier, as if you had 3 14s and 3 11s. But you can have an 18 and a 7.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only have an 18 if you have a 7.
If you have a
Right.
7,
Yeah,
right?
that's the best
Oh.
part.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
it really hits us gambling sickos.
Oh, yes. It's good for the gamblers, but it's also good for keeping the game balanced, because in the end, everyone is a +6 character.
Right.
I have a player who was my original DM when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he relishes the negatives. You know, he's like, everybody wants a positive. That's what your character is based on, like for all their abilities. But the negative is where the role playing is.
All
at.
your
Sure.
role playing happens in the
Mhm.
negative. That's right.
Yes. So I really
Yeah, that
like
is
that
true.
system.
So much easier to play a -2 modified intelligence than a +2 modified intelligence if you're not like feeling it on the day. You're like, Well, I know how to be stupid.
Yep. That's absolutely true.
It's also very customizable because you could roll 3d8s instead of a d8, a d6, and a d4.
Yep.
You wind up with the same total numbers, but the spread could be much wider or it could be the exact same because a 4 is average on a d8. Well, 4.5.
Sure. Right. I love it. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up tonight's session or recording session. So, preview for the next episode. Just to reiterate, we have Jim Temple from Variant Codex Press, an author of the upcoming The Pod Person Plague, releasing in June, and guest hosting will be Peter Martin of Purple Martin Games, talking about all manner of stuff, I'm imagining. So look forward to that. So again, this has been A5 Evening on All Party Roundup. We're covering all the good third-party and first-party stuff for the best version of 5th edition out there. And then anybody have any other pluggables they want to just hit up at the end of the show here? We'll start with Rachel.
No, not yet, but I'm already starting in on Occult Omens.
Okay.
Ooh.
Occult Omens, Rachel's Steampunkette's next project. And where can people find you on the socials if you want them to?
Steampunkette on Blue Sky, Discord, Tumblr.
All right. Wonderful. Over to Nir.
Just plugging away. Come join us, A5E on Foundry. I'm there all the time. We've got a wonderful community, always willing to help out both from the technical side of the system, as well as a lot of the third-party authors hang out, answer questions.
We pretty much are all there, yep.
Yes, and it's just wonderful. It's a good community, so come and join us there.
It is a good community, and I want to say it's really well moderated. I appreciate that. So,
all thanks to our wonderful mod, Psychotic Dragon. They are on top of things. I cannot remember the last time I've seen a bot spam our server.
No, it's
They're
clean.
gone
It's
so
nice.
fast.
So yes, the A5E Foundry Discord. Also, you can find them on Patreon as
Forge Masters.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Allie, we're on Instagram now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
All right.
Easy,
It's official.
And
It's
A5
official.
Evening. Yep.
A5
Just created the Instagram handle yesterday.
Beautiful. So find us at A5 Evening, and we will, in the summer, this is looking like, because of all the things that are coming out, probably going to be a bi-monthly show. That means twice a month,
Ooh,
not
exciting.
every other month. Twice a month, bi-monthly. A word that means two things that are opposites.
Yes.
And then we will probably go to a monthly when the breakneck pace of releases kind of slows down a little bit, but I don't know if that's happening at any point in the future. We are booked out with guests until October, so stay tuned and see some of your favorite authors and other creators. We have people from A5E Actual Plays booked as well. People like Nir from the Foundry team. People like Rachel, who is a content author as well. So look forward to this. Again, this has been A5 Evening. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Goodbye,
everyone.
everybody.